Um, I am going to thank you, Rosa, for initiating that. So good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Thank you for being here today as we review the next steps for financial aid and billing for those who are anticipating transitioning to Towson after this semester. I'm going to start with a really quick review of the upcoming timeline as it relates to the transition process. I will be followed by Mr. Webster, who I'm sure you all know very well, who will just review what will happen on the CCBC side for your financial aid. And if everybody could mute themselves, please, that's going to be really key so that we can get through this information. Thank you. After Mr. Webster, Mr. Horn from Towson's financial aid office will explain what will happen on the Towson side because the process will be a bit different. Hopefully it's considered a lot easier for you as everything will be online and there won't be so much paper required. And then finally, Ms. Walker will provide information regarding how the billing process will work once you transition. So with that said, the timeline coming up. So of course you're getting ready to go into your finals week next Tuesday. I told you it would fly by and here we are. It is December the 6th. And so after finals, your faculty have to submit their grades by December 17th. That's the following Tuesday. And so if everyone does that on time, crossing my fingers, I should be able to notify you via your Towson email account, your official transition status. So that is if you're on track or not on track, if you've transitioned, if you're eligible to continue in the program. So if you didn't meet the requirements to transition, but you met satisfactory academic progress requirements for the program, then you'll be able to continue in the spring. And then if you did not meet those satisfactory academic requirements, so a 2.0 or better, then you'll get notification about your academic dismissal. And so if you were on track at the midterm point and didn't have any financial or advising holds, you were able to register for classes. For those of you that did not get to register at the midterm point, but then you've met the criteria at the end of semester, you will be able to register after the colleges reopen. So in terms of timeline, as long as everything's in, you should hear from me before the colleges close on December 20th. And then the colleges will reopen on Tuesday, January the 2nd. But I won't be back until January the 6th. So for those of you that were on track, just make sure that you're getting registered. But remember that no one is here over the break. So you want to make sure that you have a plan for when the colleges reopen and then I return on the 6th. If you didn't have a schedule because you weren't on track, you'll be able to register after January 6th when I come back. And so you'll get more information about that. I just wanted to clarify what that process will look like. And so now we're going to go ahead and have Mr. Webster queue up his PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to turn it over to him. Mike?
Uh, okay. Hi. I do not have a PowerPoint, first of
Oh,
all.
okay.
So yeah, good morning, everybody. For anybody who doesn't know me, I am Mike Webster, and I am the one who deals with the financial aid for the FTP program at CCBC. I am on the Dundalk campus here. Um, and yeah, the reason I don't have a PowerPoint is because I'm not the star of today's show. My information is very basic and very brief, what I have to say. And that is because the overall message I have is just that if you will continue in the program for the spring semester, your financial aid will work the same way it did in the fall. So you'll start getting weekly email updates from me again that go over what you owe, how much financial aid you have, what you might still owe on top of the financial aid, whether or not you have documents that you owe us, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to apply for loans again, be them student or Parent Plus loans, there will be paper applications again for you to fill out, physical paper applications. They are already available if you want to get them from the FTP website. There's a separate heading for spring 2025, so you'll get the forms there. Yeah, I mean it's all kind of just the same process as it was for fall. Everything that we did in the fall, you'll just do over again. And again, I'm speaking to the students who are going to be staying in the program for the spring 2025 semester, not the students who will be transitioning out. So yeah, it'll all kind of just be the same process that you went through in the fall. So you're already familiar with it. The only things I do want to add is that number one, so most, if not all of you, have already, of course, included CCBC school code on your FAFSA application. If you followed our instructions, you also included Towson school code on your application. So even to the students who are making the transition, there really shouldn't be anything that you need to do there with your FAFSA. For those of you that do, though, need to add Towson to your FAFSA for the spring because you're going to be making that transition and you haven't already, one thing I just want to mention is don't make any changes to your FAFSA application, your current FAFSA application, that is, your 24-25 FAFSA application. Don't make any changes to it whatsoever until the semester officially ends. Because up until that point, you can still get selected by the federal government for verification anytime you make an update, in which case then you would need to submit documents to our office, and we're still bound by that if it happens before you technically stop attending CCBC, which is the official end of the semester. So again, most of you, as long as you've been following the instructions that we've given you the whole time, really don't need to do anything there. But just in case you do, and you need to go back to your FAFSA and add Towson to it, just make sure that you don't do that until after the semester officially ends. The other thing is kind of on a similar note. If you're getting awards from the State Higher Education Commission, the Maryland Higher Education Commission, MHEC, you may need to log back into your MD CAPS online system and address the spring portion of those awards to CCBC if you haven't already. Again, this is if you're continuing in the program for the spring semester. If you're transitioning out of the program for the spring semester, you may need to go in there and address those awards to Towson. So it kind of just depends on A, whether or not you're staying in the program or transitioning out, and B, what you already did with them. Because you already told them something. You already told them either CCBC or Towson, one or the other. And so either you were right and you don't need to do anything there, or you were wrong and you just need to change it for the spring, which is very easy. So you might just want to log back into your MD-CAP system when you get your kind of official transition status, just to make sure that what they have listed for your spring awards aligns with what is actually going to happen, you staying in the program at CCBC or transitioning out for TU. But again, that's kind of it. I mean, all you really need to be doing if you're staying in the program is the same stuff that you did for fall, and primarily keeping on top of your Towson email account. As long as you are checking that email regularly and reading over top to bottom very carefully every single word of the emails that you're getting there, you're not going to miss anything. We're going to be starting to send you again weekly email updates that'll go over where you're at and what you need to do. So again, as long as you're on top of those emails and just reading over them very carefully, there won't be anything that you'll miss. So yeah, that's kind of my overall message, and that's kind of it for me. So yeah, thanks. Best of luck.
Thanks, Mike. We really appreciate that. And you'll get reminders of all of this once you get official notification, hopefully by the end of the semester before the college closes for the winter break on the 20th. And so now I'm going to introduce Dave Horn. He is the director at Towson University of Financial Aid Office, and he is going to speak to you about the process on the Towson side. Dave? Dave, are you there? Let's see. I see him, but I don't hear him.
There we go. Sorry,
That's okay.
I'm not used to this app. I was waiting for you to unmute me. And now let's see if I can successfully share my PowerPoint. So hi, everyone. And I'm going to talk about aid at Towson.
Right next to the leave button in the upper right-hand corner, there you go. You got it. And if you just do the share, the bigger one at the bottom. There you go. Wonderful.
We good now?
Yep, you are good.
Okay. All right. Financial aid at TU. So first, before I get into the slides, once you get admitted to TU as a spring transfer, you are sort of 100% normal transfer student. You're not in a special group of like FTP students who are processed in some different way. You will be processed the same as every other spring transfer student who's been admitted to TU. So if you've already done your FAFSA and you've already listed your school code, and once the admissions process happens that admits you to TU, then usually that following Friday is when we run packages and we send award notices to students saying, here, this is what we're offering you. You're going to repeat the entire process of getting your aid awarded at TU. None of the aid that you have at fall is going to transfer automatically from CCBC to TU. You're going to complete the awarding and application process, and you should be awarded many of the similar things. So if you're eligible for Pell Grants, we will offer you a Pell Grant. It should be for a similar amount. We will evaluate your eligibility for institutional grants. We will offer you student and parent loans. We will tell you how to apply for those loans at TU. You will have to accept those loans and complete the TU steps to get those loans in place. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so I'm going to go back to my slides now. So first, we're going to talk briefly what our aid. Gift aid is the good stuff. It's grants or scholarships. Grants are usually need-based. Scholarships are usually merit-based. All spring scholarships have already been awarded from the admissions office. So there won't be any spring scholarships from TU. There will only be a potential of need-based grants, loans, and work study. And then this last thing is sort of a form of aid, and it's just a monthly payment plan. And you'll hear more about that later from Janet. So the FAFSA. FAFSA is the most important thing. FAFSA was a disaster last year. Just keep in mind that the FAFSA problem has been fixed, that going forward, everybody should be able to file a FAFSA and follow the instructions. And it's important. Don't give up on it just because of the mistakes last year. It's required to get many things. So if you haven't done a FAFSA yet, you still can. If you didn't list Mike talked about how to add the school code. If you're filing a FAFSA for the first time for spring, it's this FAFSA, the 23-24. And it's also time to start thinking about applying for next year's FAFSA. So next year's
Dave,
FAFSA is open.
Can you forward your slides? It's still on the home slide.
Oh,
and make them bigger. That's okay.
Because I'm seeing the third slide, so you're still seeing the home slide.
Yeah, so unshare it and then try to reshare it again.
I think you're sharing the wrong screen. If you have two monitors, you have to
Yeah.
select which one you want to share.
What were you seeing?
Just the general slideshow with slide one, like the whole slideshow, like to the left, all the different slides, and then the first slide in the middle.
Okay. Share content. Should I do window or entire screen?
Try window and pick the window that has the slides.
I think that's what I did last time. I think I'm going to try whole screen this time.
Okay.
Screen one.
Well, I'll be able to tell you. Now we see it. Yes. Good. Thank you.
Okay. So this is what I was talking. So we're seeing this gift aid
Yep.
here. Okay.
Types of aid.
So this is what I said before, gift aid, good stuff, grants, need-based, scholarships, loans, work study, payment plan. All the grants, the loans, and the work study are related to the FAFSA. You got to do a FAFSA every year. That's our school code, problems fixed. Spring is 23-24. Next year's FAFSA is 24-25. It's open now, and you should apply now and list TU's school code for next year to get that one in process. FAFSA, so what I always say is the FAFSA is used to apply for loans for everybody, low income and high income, and for need-based grants for low income students. So that is the purpose of the FAFSA. You will never get a scholarship as a result of the FAFSA. Scholarship processes are separate from FAFSA. Um, Next steps, after you file the FAFSA, we plan to send our first batch of aid offers to all of our spring admits by December 20th. If you, now, and, well, they won't be admitted by then. It'll be later than that, right?
Say that one more time. By December
They-
20th, no, they're matriculated in January.
Okay, so the first Friday in January after you're admitted is when you'll probably get your award letters. First Friday in January after you're admitted. It'll be an award letter, which will tell you everything we're offering you, including loans and grants. And we will give you a link to these 8 steps. There's like 16 steps here, and we just go through every one and just carefully complete every one. It's very important that you follow those instructions because there's all these picky little steps and they have to be done, and skipping one will mess everything up. We have a part of our website called Your Award Guide. This explains everything you need to know about the aid that you've been awarded, how to keep it, how to accept it, how many credits it needs, all those kinds of things. I strongly encourage everybody to read it. I know it's not exciting, but there is a lot of, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I wish somebody had told me. And all of that kind of information is here. So it's important. This is what Mike talked about if you have aid from MHEC, you need to make sure that you've told them where you'll be in the spring, and if that's changed, you need to update it. Student loans, you will accept or decline the loans that we offer you on TU Online Services. We will offer you the maximum amounts, and you will choose how much you want to borrow. If you're offered a subsidized loan, accept that one first. After the subsidized, you can accept the unsubsidized student loans. And then after that, you would have to move, if the maximum amounts that you can borrow from those loans are not enough, then you'll have to move on to either a PLUS loan or a private loan. You'll have to complete entrance counseling and a master promissory note to borrow federal student subsidized or unsubsidized loans. And there'll be instructions about that on our website, but you will have to do that again, even if you did it before with CCBC. If you need to borrow a parent loan because the other aid and loans are not enough, then these are the instructions to applying for parent loan. You go to studentloans.gov. Parent loans do require a credit check. That happens instantly. If you pass the credit check, then you would proceed with completing a master promissory note. If you're denied, you have 3 options. You can appeal the decision. You can get an endorser who would become responsible for the loan if you didn't pay it. Or students who are denied the PLUS, if your parent is denied a PLUS loan, that student becomes eligible to borrow about $4,000 in additional unsubsidized loans beyond the amount that you can apply for automatically. I wish I knew how to change these settings to stop it from auto advancing. Okay. Instead of PLUS loans, some families choose to borrow private student loans. Private student loans also require credit checks and usually require a parent cosigner to be responsible for the loan. There are many banks out there. You choose any private lender you want. The terms and interest rates vary. For most students and families, the private loans are not as good as the PLUS loans. They are slightly more expensive and they have less borrower protections. But if you have a really awesome credit rating, sometimes the interest rates on the private loans are better than the PLUS loans. So that's a decision you'll have to make. Paying your bill. This is the most important thing. I don't know how I wish I could there was something like bold and fireworks to put around this responsibility of how important this is, because this is a common misunderstanding. Your aid doesn't automatically adjust to your bill. If you add an additional charge, we don't say, oh, here's more aid because you've got an additional charge. We're going to offer you the best aid package we can. And for many students, that's not as much as you would like or we would like to give you. You're going to, maybe you're not going to be eligible for any grants, or you're going to be eligible for a grant, but it doesn't seem like it's enough. And then you're going to have some student loans that you can borrow. So in many cases, you're going to look at those grant offers and those student loans. And even if you get the grants and accept the subsidized student and unsubsidized student loans, it's not enough. And so that's when you have to go into the plus or the private loan. So it's your responsibility every semester to figure out, one, even before you get your bill, what kind of charges do I expect to have? And how does my aid look? And what's my plan? Is my aid going to be enough to cover my tuition and my housing and my food? Or am I going to need to go into those other loans? You're good. And then you have to make sure that you've got a plan to pay all of those charges by the bill due date. You'll be billed for one semester at a time. And also it's important that none of your aid can actually disperse until you complete all of those aid steps we talked about earlier, because just because we've offered you aid, it won't disperse until you complete everything. If your bill is bigger than your aid, you've got to pay that remaining balance. And if necessary, borrow additional loans or use the payment plan to pay that balance. If your aid with your loans is bigger than your bill, then the billing office is going to send you a rebate check each semester to use for your living and books expenses. Tips, as Mike stressed, it's so important that you check your TU email. If we need you to do something, we're going to send an email there telling you what you need to do. We have a lot of problems with this. There are a lot of students who regularly read their email and have a wonderful, smooth aid experience. But we get a lot of calls. What's going on with my aid? Why hasn't it dispersed? Well, we sent you 20 emails and you haven't responded to any of them. You need to do what we've been telling you for 2 months to submit that document. We can't give you aid until you need it. The whole aid process, best case can take 3 weeks. Worst case, it can take a couple months. So you can't wait until the day before your bill's due and try to click the few things online and think your aid's going to disperse tomorrow. You have to stay on top of this. Complete things early. So parents are often very involved in the bill and they want to help you and they want to call and ask questions about what's going on with your aid. We can't talk to your parents about your aid in detail unless you go online and complete a release of information form. So please do that if your parents are going to be involved in the process. It helps them and it helps us because they get cranky when we say we can't talk to them. So complete this form and then everybody can go smoothly. Time to submit next year's FAFSA. And I just want to aggressively push our website. We in this office, we write all the content on our website. We think about all the questions that we get on a normal basis. What are students confused about? What steps do students get mixed up about? And we make sure that each section of our website tells you exactly what you need to know and all the steps you need. There's sections on how to apply for aid, how to accept your aid, the award guide we discussed earlier. So it's a great resource and I encourage you to use it regularly. Finally, this is our contact information. Again, the website, edu/finaid, phone, email. We're in the Enrollment Services Building, same as the Student and University Billing Office, who's up next. And these are our hours. And that's the end for me.
Thanks so much, Dave, for going over that information. And now we're going to close it out with Janet Walker, who will talk about the billing process on the Towson side, which will be different than the FTP billing process. Janet?
Okay, thank you very much, Dave and Ann. Ann, I want to confirm that you can see the Student and University Billing Office PowerPoint.
Perfect, I can.
Okay, great. All righty. And you see that I switched to the next slide, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. So as mentioned by Mike and Dave, students will receive emails at their Towson email address. This includes notification when your e-bill for the semester is ready. If you would like someone else, such as a parent, grandparent, or someone else who's helping you navigate your finances while here at the university, you want to make sure you add them as an authorized user so they will also get notification when your e-bill is available. Your e-bill itemized statement will include your tuition, your mandatory fees, if you have housing or meal plan, and lab fees and any other semester charges on that semester e-bill that goes out. Our office also sends out monthly account statements if you add any new charges. For example, if you decide to increase your meal plan, or you add a parking permit, or some other service here at the university, that will appear on your monthly account statement. Your due date, because you are a new student to the university, will be February 4th, 2025 for the spring semester. I'm going to repeat that date. That date is February 4th, 2025. It's very important you always know your due dates. Your due dates are also printed on your e-bill. The university accepts payment at our payment center, cash, check, or money order. The university also partners with TouchNet, and you have the ability to pay online with ACH or e-check. And you can pay with a credit card online. Please keep in mind that the university does charge I'm sorry, not the university, TouchNet charges a convenience fee for paying online for credit cards only. If you're using the ACH or e-check option, there is no additional charge. If a third party, such as an employer, or an organization is paying your tuition charges, please submit that documentation to our office at billing@towson.edu so we can properly note your account that a third party is going to pay that bill. The university also offers the Tiger installment plan. It is called the TIP program. You can pay as little as a quarter of your term bill through installments. That information is available on our website at towson.edu/billing. And then you can follow the menu prompts as well to get our payment plan options. I can tell you that the TIP program works really well. Since I was a parent of a student that graduated from the university, my family utilized the TIP plan and it worked great for us. For the spring semester, the automatic pull due dates are going to be January 10th, February 10th, and March 10th. And that's for the 3-pay. And if you are participating in the 4-payment plan, you pay 25% of your bill when you sign up in December. And then the automatic payments will be January 10th, February 10th, and March 10th. Here are the dates. Again, this information is available on our website, but you can see the various options that are available to you. And also the enrollment fee, which is not collected by Towson, it's actually collected with our third-party online partner, TouchNet. And so those show the dates. Family Education Right to Privacy Act, as Dave touched on, in order for our office to speak with you about your student's account, students have to give permission for the university to speak with those that they authorize. It's very important that this information is completed. Dave is correct. It does save frustration with whoever's trying to speak with us about their student's account. It also saves our office frustration as well. We do not like not being able to talk to people who need information about accounts. As Dave mentioned, if you are receiving financial aid in excess of the charges on your student account, our office will process a rebate for you. We partner with BankMobile. BankMobile allows you to select how you receive your rebate. The quickest and best way to get a rebate is to set it up to your existing bank account that you already have, you know, at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, PNC, CQ, one of the many wonderful financial institutions that are available. And you can go into your BankMobile account and select your current bank account to have those funds direct deposited. The difference between getting something direct deposited is about 5 to 7 business days from when our office processes that rebate versus a paper check, which is sent to your address on file, which can take up to 14 to 21 business days. So if you need those rebates quick, please make sure you get set up for direct deposit. We talked a little bit about setting up a parent or someone else as an authorized user for your e-bill. Again, that's something you can do through your student dashboard here at the university, and you can add an authorized user into your TouchNet account. The instructions on how to do this is also available on our website at towson.edu/billing. I believe it is under frequently asked questions, or you can refer back to this presentation since that information is going to be available to you as well. Higher education and the tax credit. Many families utilize the 1098-T tax credit in order to get educational expenses to show that as a valid deduction. The quickest and fastest way to get your 1098-T is electronically through your student dashboard. In order to receive your 1098-T forms that way, you need to go online through your Towson dashboard and consent to receiving that information electronically. Typically, that information is available around the 3rd week of January. If you're getting it electronically, as soon as it is available, you will be notified. If you choose to have it mailed to you, those are mailed out at the end of January. So depending on how quickly you would like your taxes done, plan accordingly. Again, the quickest way to get it is to get it electronically through your student dashboard. Action items you can do today. Know your e-bill due date, which is February 4th, 2025. As Dave stated, it's important that you pay your semester e-bill and monthly statements on time to, 1, avoid a late fee, and 2, to avoid any holds up in registering for future semesters. You also want to complete that release of information authorization, so our office and the Office of Financial Aid can speak to anyone you designate about your student account. If you want someone else to get notified when your e-bills are ready, make sure you set up the person you wish as an authorized user. You want to sign up for our disbursement online center through Bank Mobile. The quickest way to get your rebate is direct deposit. The online tax credit, you want to make sure you sign up so you can get those forms quickly. And anybody who has a prior balance of more than $250 will not be able to register for future semesters. So it's important to know that as well. The other thing I would like to take a moment to discuss is the university here at Towson offers a financial literacy application. It's a free interactive resource that helps people plan for budgeting, achieving financial goals, how to get credit, managing credit cards, managing and repaying student loans, and managing other debt. It's a great resource. It is available for free, and we encourage everyone to take advantage of that. You can do a search on the university's website for the Which Way Financial app, and it has more information about what you can do to have access to that program. These are just kind of the steps, how you can do it. Again, this is information that'll be available to you. I think Ann said she was going to share the PowerPoint's presentation slide. So this is how you would do it. And then again, we talked about, the topics that are covered, and these are very helpful and certainly can get you on a good path to having financial success. As Dave mentioned, we are located in the Enrollment Services building on the 3rd floor. Our office hours are the same as the Office of Financial Aid. You can reach us by email at billing@towson.edu. And then our phone number is here as well. Anyone who's mailing a paper check to our office, you're going to mail it to the Student and University Billing Office, 8000 York Road, Towson, Maryland, and the zip here is 21252. Thank you and welcome to Towson, and we look forward to having all new Tigers on our campus in the spring.
Thank you, Janet, so much. And thank you to all of our presenters. I know Dave wanted to say a few more words, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Hi, everyone. I just want to explain a little bit the difference between the Financial Aid Office and the Student and University Billing Office. So you will interact with the Financial Aid Office to apply for aid, complete all materials for your aid, accept your loans, any questions about your aid. Once your aid disperses, your aid gets applied towards your bill. The Student and University Billing Office is the one that sends you your bill. You submit payments to the billing office, and they send rebates. And I don't know if Janet wants to add anything.
No, Dave, that's great. Thank you for that. We we do partner with our friends in the financial aid office. We are right down the hall from each other. We work together, and we're here to help students and parents navigate the process here at the university.
Janet, there was a question in the chat for you to provide the address. I think it was for the check, to mail a check, and can you confirm
Yep,
that?
I will repeat that again.
Okay, go ahead.
It is Student and University Billing Office,
Mm-hmm.
and that is 8000 8000 York Road,
Mm-hmm.
and that is at Towson. And the zip code here is 21252. And there is one thing that I did not mention that I will be happy to mention now. The university does have partnerships with a lot of 529 tuition plans. Some of those plans do offer the ability to have the funds wired directly to the university through Flywire. And we are set up and do participate in that program. If you are utilizing a 529 plan, please drop our office a quick email with your confirmation that those funds are en route to the university so we can properly note your account.
Great. And then there was another question directed towards you about, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to let you answer it. Can you set up a payment plan now without an actual bill so it won't sting so bad because of the number of payments?
Sure. So until there are charges on the account, you cannot sign up for the Tiger installment plan. That is to protect students and their families as well as the university. What we do encourage families to do, if you want to set a little money aside, what you can do once the charges go on the account, you can go ahead and make just a regular payment on the account and then sign up for the Tiger installment plan. And then that way your monthly payments won't be so large.
Great, thank you for that. And so now I wanted to open it up to any other questions. I think it's probably easiest if you're able to put it in the chat, but if you're not able to type, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. So we only have about 15 minutes for that. Yeah, so if any questions, is there a sign in? No, I'm able to actually see all the students that have attended as long as it's associated with your name. So Mia, there's no actual sign in. So I'll give just a couple more minutes for those if you have questions to type it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask your questions. I know it's a lot of information, you know, to consider, and because like it's, you know, you don't yet know if you're officially transitioning, but we feel that it's important for us to go over this now. Ultimately, final grades will make that determination. Okay, so yes, you can leave the questions here. Where on the TU website do we find the FERPA form to fill out? So that, Janet, do you have an exact link? If it's in the PowerPoint, I could get it, but I'm not.
So it's actually called the release of information, and it's actually part of Dave's financial aid forms. So from the Towson dashboard, there's a category off the menu called, and Dave, stop me if I'm wrong, financial aid forms, and then you just go down and select release of information forms.
Yes, and the other way to get there is if you go to towson.edu/aid forms, which I just put in the chat, that takes you directly to our aid forms page. And at the top, we list all of the different online forms, which includes that one.
Great, thank you. And to confirm, as part of FTP, students also had that option to fill out an FTP specific FERPA release form. And so many of our students have done that, but it has to be initiated by the student. And I believe it requires them. Dave, does yours require them to log in as well from the
So
student
first,
account?
I mean, whatever FTP form they did before wouldn't carry forward. So
Right.
to have this
We know
release
that. I'm saying
yeah.
if they remain in the program and they didn't do one in the fall, they can do one in the spring.
Okay, yeah. So what was your question again? Before I got sidetracked.
With the FERPA form that they fill, or the release form, do students have to log in to be able to like verify
Yes.
so because the parents can't just go on and fill it out for them.
Yeah.
So it is a secure process. So I just wanted to mention that if they're looking for a form, they can just fill out. It doesn't work quite like that. Okay. Will it be higher and a little harder to get grants for students that's from out of town?
No, eligibility for grants is exclusively based on financial need. And so whether you're from Baltimore or Western Maryland, or, even out of state students can get some grants. So it's all about financial need and not about location. There is a housing status factor, whether you live, there's 3 potential housing statuses. You're living on campus, you're renting your own apartment off campus, or you're living with your parents. Housing status does have an impact on the grant amounts for the institutional grants. Students who are living with their parents have lower costs, and that has a factor, but location doesn't. And I'm going to skip to the next question that I see. About will students get an official letter that they transferred to Towson? Will they need it for scholarship purpose? I don't understand the question about for scholarship purposes. I mean, once you're admitted to Towson, we know then you'll be able to enroll at Towson. If you're getting an external scholarship, you would tell that external provider to send the money for Towson. And TU has already offered all the scholarships that we are offering for spring admits, so there aren't going to be any scholarship offers for FTP admits, but you could get offered a need-based grant through the FAFSA process.
There's not an official, like when you were invited to participate in this program, that was an offer letter. What we do is the official transition notification from me notating that you have officially met the requirements to transition and you are now considered a matriculated Towson University student. But if you need a letter, I'm sure, like for some scholarship that you're trying to verify that you are in fact enrolled, we can work on getting that through university admissions. And the same thing for residency status. To dispute it, you have to first transition and then you have to complete your required residency form. It's going to be part of your transition checklist. And then from there, you would have to dispute it. It looks like that's through the registrar's office. And so I put the link here so you can read about it. It has information on policy and what a petition would look like so that you can gather more information in advance of transitioning. But until you've officially been matriculated over and put into the system as a Towson student, you won't be able to do any of that in advance.
And I'm going to jump in and answer another question. There's nobody from TU in admissions here on this call, right? Nobody.
No.
Okay. So one of the other questions is about, hey, I thought I was going to get in-state tuition and they didn't grant me in-state tuition. How would I dispute that? So any questions about your tuition status, which is called tuition residency, you would work with the TU admissions office. They have folks in the admissions office who handle requests about that. And sometimes you have to provide additional documentation. There's an appeal process, and that's all done through the university admissions office.
And I just posted that link as well, because that gives you information. Let's see, I'm going down. Do you know if anything for my students out of Maryland? We are in PA. Any grant, are you aware of any grants that they can apply for out of state?
So we do have need-based grants, and again, they're all about financial need, and students with the same financial need, whether they were in-state or out of state, would both get grants. So it's all about the FAFSA process. There's not a separate process for those grants. It's just the FAFSA process.
Great. If you would like a copy of the slides, please just email me and I will send those over. Are there paper PDF forms to submit to TU to accept student loans, or can it be done online? They're referencing the fact that FTP is completely paper because FTP students are only 150 out of 20,000 students. So we want to keep them separate. So we created an FTP specific form. So Dave, you can confirm that everything's online.
Yeah, yes. With Towson, you're handled with all other regular spring admits, and so you've got a fully online process. You're not in a special FTP group, and everything's online. And once you get your award letter, it will include a link to instructions, and you follow those instructions, and it'll take you through everything.
Great. Emmanuel, if you can drop your email in the chat, I can see your names, but I don't have your emails unless you're a student. I know there's students and parents on the line. So you can either shoot me an email for a request or drop your contact information in the chat and I'll send that out. Any other questions? I'll just give it a moment. Otherwise, I think the most important thing, if you take nothing away from this, that you make sure you're checking your Towson email, and parents, you're talking with your students. So I see there's something in here in the chat. Regardless of whether a student is transitioning or not, they should not need to complete a new FAFSA application for the spring 2025 semester. Their existing 24-25 FAFSA will still be in effect. Someone might.
We lost Dan.
Okay.
We lost you, and I don't know where you went.
I'll take over for that part of it. So yeah, I was the one that said that in the chat, and yes, that is accurate. You shouldn't need a new FAFSA application for the spring semester if you've already done one. Of course, if you, for whatever reason, just haven't done one up to this point, which probably isn't anybody here, but if for whatever reason you haven't done one at all to this point, then yes, you would want to complete a 24-25 FAFSA application. So one FAFSA application covers you for one academic year as opposed to calendar year. An academic year being fall, winter, spring, summer, and then it begins again every new fall semester. So your current 24-25 FAFSA application that you've already done is still in effect for spring 25 and then also for summer 25. And then a new academic year will begin with fall 25, which is the semester that'll begin like probably at the end of August, very end of August 2025. That new application is something you can complete now if you want to begin that process, the 25-26 FAFSA application. But for this upcoming spring, you shouldn't need to do a new FAFSA application. The only thing that you may have to do, and again, even this you probably don't if you've been following the instructions that we've been giving you the whole time, but what you may have to do is go back onto that 24-25 FAFSA application that already exists and make sure you add the TU school code to it so that they have access to it for the spring semester. But again, if you've been following the instructions we've given you the whole time, then you won't have to do that because you've already done that. The FAFSA application you can send to up to 20 schools at a time. So what we kind of have been saying the whole time is just make sure that 2 of those 20 schools are CCBC for the fall and then Towson potentially for the spring for the students that are transitioning. So assuming that you follow those instructions, there's nothing else that you would really need to do with your existing 24-25 FAFSA application.
Thanks, Mike.
So I see there's a question about the 1098T tax credit. That's actually signing up for consenting to get it electronically through a student's dashboard, and it would only apply to funds that you paid towards your student tuition and mandatory fees here at the university. So it won't apply to what you paid at CCBC. It'll only apply starting next year in 2025, what you paid to Towson.
Thank you. And the question about being from Florida and renting a place outside of Towson to obtain residency, you'll want to check with the university admissions office. I don't know what the residency requirements are. I did drop 2 different links in the chat regarding residency, but since I'm from CCBC, I'm not in a position to verify that. So you'll want to check into that because I'm sure there are some very strict requirements in terms of documentation and timeline.
And I actually have to jump off because I have a meeting across campus.
Mhm.
Teresa and Ruth are going to stay here until it's over and answer any questions for our office.
Great. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Janet. We appreciate you.
And I have to run to the
Appreciate you.
same, I have to run to the same meeting, so.
No problem.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Dave.
Bye.
All right, so I think we've got most of this, and I see the request for the slides, so I'll make sure I get those after the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this to an end and just thank you all so much for your time and engagement. And, you know, we know it's confusing, so please continue to reach out to us with any questions that you have, and make sure that you're reading everything that we're sending to you and utilizing the different resources that are available. So we look forward to helping you get transitioned to Towson in the spring. Thank you and have a great rest of the semester.
Thanks, everyone.
you.
Best of luck in the spring.